What's going on, everybody? I just wanted to share some tips on non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Thermogenesis just means metabolism, and sometimes everywhere you go, you look at this: take 10,000 steps a day. I just think that is so generic and just it's a little bit of a false statement. And here's why I think it's a false statement. Although getting someone to take steps every single day to probably improve cardiovascular metabolism, probably improve non-exercise metabolism, but I think sometimes when someone actually says that, they probably haven't looked deep into the science and looked really into the work of people like James Betts and people like other kind of scientists and looking into non-exercise metabolism, because the reason why is it's adaptive. Metabolism is adaptive. So do you ever notice when you say go into a fat loss phase, a muscle gain phase or stuff like that, the reason sometimes people struggle on a bulk is because when they go on a bulk and they want to gain muscle, what happens is because of the changes in diet-induced thermogenesis from the extra food that they're eating, their activity goes up and unconsciously they start to increase and generate heat unconsciously. And you're probably saying, what is unconsciously? So for example, right, if you look into, say, fasting studies, right, so people just say fasting on the internet right now, but they don't actually look into the research of the changes. Again, James Betts' work out of, I think he's out of Loughborough University, 15, 20 years doing research on fasting. And if you actually look into it, like for example, when they gave people food at food at breakfast compared to the fasting studies, the ones that had food at breakfast expanded 500 calories, I think, over an 8 or 12 week period. So because the changes in non-exercise activity, thermogenesis, like meaning it's not just take 10,000 steps a day, because that's adaptive. Remember that. That's why they're putting weight vests on people to take more steps to create an overload response. Remember, there's a principle in training called progressive overload, which again gets a little bit used too much without specificity. See, specificity is another training principle. And why I'm saying this is because I'm not saying go and take 20, 30,000 steps and create overload or stuff like that. But what I am saying is that it doesn't, like, non-exercise activity thermogenesis is not just taking steps every single day and thinking that if you do more steps that you'll burn more calories. It doesn't work like that, because if you did, say, go from 10,000 steps to 20 to 30 and you haven't got energy coming in probably from carbohydrates, I would say carbohydrates, because glucose is the preferred source of fuel for the body, and fats can take a long time to digest and absorb. So that's another thing where people kind of think that, like, oh, I'm in a fat burning zone because I'm below 70% of my heart rate or something. No, glucose gets used also throughout that process, but we're not going to get into that. So going, staying on adaptive metabolism towards non-exercise activity metabolism. So it kind of happens when, for example, let's say you have a high amount of food, you're eating well, you're exercising well, you're probably going training every single day, unconsciously, without even thinking of it. When somebody has more energy inside of their body from, say, carbohydrates, fruits, or this kind of stuff, they're going to expand more energy unconsciously without even knowing. Through what I'm doing now, look at the hands, they're going everywhere, walking around, jumping around, cleaning the house. You don't even notice what you're doing. Walking, probably always living more, a little bit more active, and not thinking about, oh, if I don't get 10,000 steps a day, today I don't increase non-exercise activity metabolism. And you're probably, just before you do go, if you're someone that doesn't understand what the components of total daily energy expenditure are, which is the amount of energy that someone will expand over a day, it comes through your rest and metabolism. Again, your rest and metabolism can dictate your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Through sleep can have an impact on your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Your body fat levels can have an impact on non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Probably the leaner you are, the more adaptive you are, the more heat you're probably not generating throughout somebody that has a little bit of body weight to lose. Therefore, when they start taking steps or start moving unconsciously, they're starting to generate more heat and they're starting to use more energy for fuel unconsciously, probably without even knowing it. The other components of metabolism, if you look inside of that, is your diet-induced thermogenesis. Remember, it costs more for the body to break down and use protein than it does fats. Makes sense? So if you eat more protein, therefore your body, the process of breaking down protein expands calories. Now, please don't go into thinking that, oh, if I eat more protein, I'm going to expand more calories. No, the body can only use a certain amount of protein over a given day, which is really, really specific to an individual. It's specific to your training demands. It's specific whether you're looking to gain strength, whether you're looking to lose fat, whether you're looking to just maintain what you're doing, whether you're on a ketogenic diet, whether you're on a vegan-based, vegetarian-based diet. It just really depends. There's no unique number for protein. But I would say, with even making these claims, it's not really good, but I would say possibly 1 gram per pound of lean body mass would be a great number to start with. But remember, there's a different bioavailability of proteins in the body, meaning they are absorbed differently and have different kinds of amino acids inside of them. So just remember that. So protein quality matters. And why I say that is, let's say you're somebody that probably tracks your calories and looks into all that, and then at the end of the day, you look into your whatever, MyFitnessPal or whatever like that, and then you look into it and it says, yes, I hit me 160 grams of protein a day. Did you have protein spreaded for increases in muscle protein synthesis? What was the quality of that protein? Like, where are you getting the protein from? Like, you have to kind of look into that kind of stuff, because sometimes, like, you could be on 160 grams of protein and you could be getting 50 grams of protein from things like, say, oatmeal. You could be getting it from peanut butters. You could be getting it from all different kind of foods, which contain like a lot of different stuff like grains, different kind of carbohydrates, different kind of fats, contain proteins, but it probably hasn't got the amino acid quality and essential, non-essential amino acids that your body needs. So just thinking into that, if you can look into it. So just remember, if you can take one thing from today, non-exercise activity thermogenesis is not just dictated by the amount of steps that someone takes every single day. It's quite generic and it's very, very adaptive, and meaning within a 2 to 4 week period, you kind of adapt the step count. This really came into terms, I think, a little bit more when people were dieting down. So people were dieting down and losing fat. And as you know, if you've probably dieted down in your past, you know that your energy goes down and you don't really want to move around a lot more, especially when you become to really, really lean body levels, or when you get really, really tired and you're on very low calories. You start to like become conservative and you don't want to expand energy. So I think that kind of came out as, start to take steps, start to track your step count. But non-exercise activity thermogenesis is a little bit more than just taking daily steps every single day. I think most of it happens unconsciously, and if you look at the conscious aspect of like thinking of it a lot more, it's not the same as the unconscious activity from non-exercise metabolism.